Hello YouTube, this is NS Steampunk. We are over in Mount Vernon, Ohio again. This time we are over at the site of the CA&C depot known as the Cleveland, Akron, and Columbus Railroad. This building right here was originally built in 1907. It is now serving as a collaborative office space for community entities as well as a welcome center for bicyclists and runners. The original building had burned in 1905 and the current building was rebuilt in the same location. At one time, the CA&C depot served many passenger trains later became part of the Pennsylvania Railroad right-of-way. The last one came through in 1959. More than 40 trains would pass through Mount Vernon in a day, and about 30 of those would be passenger trains. A ticket from Mount Vernon to Oroville and back would cost around $40. The Batteau Pass near Greer outside of Mount Vernon required a lot of assistance for trains to get up and over it, and this was an awfully extra expense to the railways. The B&O depot, as I mentioned on West High Street in my other video, was a separate line and served as a competitor to the CA&C. The marble that you can see on the ticket booth was painted green at one time when the senior center was there, and then during renovations someone tried to drive a nail through that unsuccessfully and discovered all the beautiful marble that was located here. The terrazzo floors are original and had 3 layers of carpet glued to the top of them, and that was one of the most difficult parts in the renovation. This is the track looking south. You can also see a big steel truss bridge. This over here is the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad right-of-way. Later part of CSX, and now the Ohio Central Railroad, which is now owned and operated by the Genesee & Wyoming Railroad. Garrett, can you tell us something very significant about this location where the bike path is located?
Right in this area here, we had a pair of the ABA set Pennsylvania diesel engines that crashed in the area over there. It crashed, we don't know what the year was, but they did crash in that time frame. You can look it up online on the Mount Vernon page of the Mount Vernon train wreck. There was a pair of brand new Alco F diesel locomotive series. It crashed in that area and they were 10 days old. 10 days old and they were brand new. The significant about the 2 bridges, the biggest bridge is this one here on the bike trail. It's one of the most gorgeous Pennsylvania Railroad bridges engineered out there. It's one of the more stable bridges than every other bridge on the line. And there's 2 other bridges. There's another bridge on the far end over there, and then this bridge here. So there's several old railroad bridges still in place around the whole area.
As you can tell here, the rails are gone, but the memories still live on. For those of you who could travel to Columbus, it was about 44 5/10 of a mile, whereas Hudson was about 99 8/10 of a mile. This is the inside of the depot. We're looking up on the wall here. You can see the route of the original Cleveland, Akron, and Columbus Railway Mount Vernon route. Some very historical pictures from America's past. This is the ticket office where passengers would buy their tickets. You got a waiting room where passengers would wait for the train. It's now a visitor center, but it's hard to believe that at one time that this depot served passengers back in the day. Depot was put on the National Register of Historic Places.
Down there. That's about it. But yeah, that's cage.
100.
This is milepost 100 on the former CA&C and Pennsylvania Railroad. Now we're walking down what used to be a rail line. It's now used for bicyclists, tourists, and runners.
Yeah,
that is the old truss bridge in front of us. We have another railroad site we'd like to show you next.
So this was the other trestle bridge we were talking about. There's 2 bridges. You have the Pensy, and this was another bridge. It ran over the Gambier's line. So technically there's 3 other bridges in all these areas, and this was one of the other trestles. So this had a weight limit of 4 tons, which is, I don't know why they have a weight limit sign on it. It's kind of funny.
Yep.
So normally in spring and summer they'll open this trail up down below the bridge here, but for right now nobody can go down.
Yeah, because of flooding along the river.
So this was an old trestle bridge. This was behind. There's a burger or a Wendy's behind here. And I knew about the bridge, I just never knew what the condition of the bridge was. And this was the bridge here.
And as you can see, there are no more rails.
There's no more rails, but you can tell where the trackage went this way. But where the bridge is set up, we're on the old bus of the old trestle. So this was an old trestle, and the old abutments are still in place. But for a long time, this was a walking path for any bicyclist. But if you wanted to take a risk on the old bridge, there was not much you couldn't see down below that bridge. So it was a big risk taker, but it's one of the better bridges. So when we get down here, we'll go over to the old freight depot and show you that, because there's still a couple things in that depot, which another group was taking over. So this is a really popular trail. So a lot of people bicycle this trail.
It's known as Kokosin Gap Trail.
This is Kokosin Gap Trail. And they're still using the old bus lines for these bridges. So behind here, if we're behind this spot here, it should have what it looks like underneath of it, because it's still on the old trestles.
And as you can see, there's the abutments.
So that is the old trestles. So it's all still there. It's just
There's no more trains anymore.
But the weird thing is, that's where all the geese like to sleep too, right underneath.
Yeah, Mother Nature at its finest. You gotta love Ohio.
So the neat thing about this bridge is we had M1 Northerns run across here all the time, but we actually had H10 consolidations run through here. And the backstory is we had a 5-stall roundhouse, but it was tore down in the 30s. So going that way would have been the roundhouse over there where the old concrete plant is.
And I think we found some old used railroad ties.
Talking about the
Now going across the bridge, as you can see, it's hard to believe that trains once used to serve this back in the day.